Welcome, everyone. It's the Mike Tech Show, show number 899. That's right, show 900 will be next week. Tonight's topic, pig butchering scam. And I first learned of it on Sunday night watching John Oliver last week tonight on HBO. And he does a lot of real stories, but with a comedy twist to it. Very hard to make fun of this. But this is a real term. I have real links. And we're going to talk about pig butchering scam. And then I have some email that we'll get to. I have one story from In the Trenches. So before we get started, happy leap year day, everybody, as this is February 29th. And a couple shout outs. A thank you to Scott for a great client referral from last Friday. And that's going to be one of my stories from the trenches. And then had a great time yesterday at the Phillies game. A shout out to Carlos, who's a listener and is local, only like a half hour from me here. And we've texted, we've talked once, everything, but we've never gotten together, and it was great. Took him to the Phillies game yesterday. We had a great time, and glad you were able to make it, Carlos. And now let's get started. So what is pig butchering? What a horrible, horrible, horrible name. And it is the reason why is it's a long con, and it's named because the victims are likened to hogs being fattened up for the slaughter. So just think of this as a scam that's a long con. And I'm going to have two links. One, the Wikipedia has a really good explanation. And then another one, the topic is, with pig butchering scams on the rise, FBI moves to stop the bleeding. So, what is this? And it's this type of fraud originated in Southeast Asia, and they have fraud factories set up, and literally the people that are perpetrating the scam are prisoners, or like they're like being held prisoners from different gangs, and they are forced, because their family members are threatened or whatever, they are forced and taught how to perpetrate this scam. And it begins with a very innocent text message to a targeted person that, as they cover everything on social media, they have a profile where they will find the person that they think will, fall for this. And what they'll do is they might send a text. Let's say the person's name is Charlie. They might say, "Hey, Mike, I can't make it tomorrow at, so-and-so restaurant or something." And the person's going to type back, which is what they want. And they'll type back, "Oh, you got the wrong person. Sorry." Now they have you. What they're going to do is very slowly and carefully suck you in to an ongoing conversation to build a trust. And it is horrible, because once they get you, and it could be weeks and weeks of going back and forth, and then once you start to earn their trust, what they'll do is talk about, hey, how much money they're making on different investments. And they're not directly asking the person for money. What they're doing is having them download a fake app and getting them to invest in a cryptocurrency that then looks like they're making a lot of money. And as soon as they've put in enough money, then they'll shut the app down and disappear. And they'll shut that profile down and move on. And it is terrible. And if you get a chance and if you have HBO Max, you can catch it on a replay or on demand. I highly recommend last Sunday's episode of Last Week Tonight, because he does a deep dive into the pig butchering. And it's been commonplace on social apps where in October 2023, I didn't realize it's been around this long, 12% of Americans using said apps have been victims, up from 5% in 2018. Victims are matched with fake dating profiles and then socially engineered into developing a relationship with the perpetrator, who convinces them to invest. So they're really scouting for what they believe are lonely users that can then fall prey to a fake friendship via texting, via email. They are given extreme training on how to do this. And they're in other countries. And with this, the people that are perpetrating the scam, they are really part of a human trafficking problem. So here's what do we do? So why am I doing this? Why am I talking about it? And what do we do? Well, the first thing is awareness. And we have to get the word out to your clients. If they get a strange text message, do not respond. Just ignore it, delete it. Do not respond. Do you know, a couple days ago, on Monday, after watching that, I actually got a fake message. I'm reading it and I was like, oh my God. They were like, hey, don't we know each other from way back? And I found your number. And they don't identify who they are or anything because they want me to respond. And I'm like, God, I'm not responding to this. Everything looks legitimate when they're investing. That's why it's real shame on just how many people have been taken advantage of for not just a few $1,000s, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars from individuals, their life savings, everything. It is a horrible, horrible scam that I can't believe I haven't heard of. And so that's why I want to help get the word out. So this way, anybody you know, especially family members like your parents or grandparents, don't let them respond. And you tell them it's fake and they're trying to suck you in to it's a scam, so don't respond. It's like the emails. Most of us know that, don't reply, to the what looks like a wrong email. And this is a reminder for your doctor's appointment. And so and an innocent person would reply back, oh, I don't have an appointment. You can't reply back. So you have to ignore it. Now, the imprisoned people that are forced to do these scams, there has to be an international law enforcement. And that's the problem, because they pay off the local law enforcement, so these people can't escape. So it's really, really horrible. So now, how do we do this on an international level? And I'm not learned enough, and it's going to take multiple countries working together and trying to put an end to these people being trapped to do this. Next, the social media companies have have to step up and stop and at least help decrease fake accounts, because this is where they lure people in, because they're like, oh, check my Facebook profile out, and then you think you're learning about the person and this is all fake. So how does Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, all of them, they need to absolutely get a handle on fake accounts. Steve in the chat brought up something, and it was next on my list. If you get a chance to see the movie The Beekeeper, this is not the pig butchering scam, but it's that quick, direct scam where they get access to your computer and they just siphon everything they can. That's what The Beekeeper is about, and I highly recommend it. The body count's high, so you got to be careful, what age whoever's watching it, because it's like IT meets John Wick. So it's very, very worth watching. And Steve, thanks for that. He's like, they need the beekeepers to take them down. Really, this is it's just so bad that when you realize how deep this is, and now when you start Googling that term, you're going to see just you're going to read horrible stories. So the FBI article, they go into individuals. It was on Facebook when an Asian woman that supposedly lived in New York on Fifth Avenue said, and so we started chatting, and soon Anna was sending explicit photos. May, a divorced and retired insurance adjuster living in Mississippi, was smitten with the person, and that's how they got in. Her aunt, she said, was holding $3 million of her money, and she needed May to invest in cryptocurrency so her aunt would release that money to her, and then she would come to me and we could get married. So it was sort of an online dating that happened via a Facebook meet. And it's like, now think of the dating apps now, of how scary that is, and how many are fake and part of this pig butchering scam. I didn't even get into diving in and investigating that. So just horrible. And here you got some real innocent stories that's in the second link for tonight. And spread the word. That's what we got. We got to do good. We got to get out there and do a ground roots, trying to prevent. And we got to do it at the beginning, which is, if it's a fake communication, and there's so many people that fall prey. And I've said this before. I have clients that are older that they can't even conceive the possibility that another human being would want to scam them. They have that personality that they can't even believe. And they trust everything they read and everything they hear. And there are a lot of people that fall into that category. I have clients that we try to train and tell them, please don't respond. Don't call the number. And they do it over and over, to the point we don't preach anymore. We just, okay, we'll take care of it. We'll clean and we'll do, because my son and I, we started getting too excited about this. We're like, oh, I can't believe they got scammed again. They can't, why won't they listen? After 2 credit cards have been compromised, why would they do the third? Why would they do it? Why would they let someone they don't know remote into their computer? Why? We told them. And now it's the sixth time. Because they can't believe that anybody would do it, even though they have been scammed. So, boy, it's hard. And it's going to be hard for everybody who's watching and listening to this. But we got to step up and we got to spread the word. And we got to make sure that, we do what we can, influence who we can to not fall prey to this. So that's the main topic. I have a story from the trenches where a local person, Scott, who has what he's referred me to a business client that I was there all day on Thursday. So what was really good is Fab's Auto Backup Pro really came through for me, because the first things they had was a new laptop and a new desktop, and I needed to transfer everything off the original computer onto my onto my external drive, and then copy it to the new system. And with that, it's interesting. I got an email as just a coincidence from Fabrice, who's the author of the Fab's Auto Backup. And one of the things that I'm going to have a link is he's updated the affiliate links to Fab's. And something that I have not done and is promote the affiliate relationship, because I stopped receiving payments. Fabrice, if you hear this, because he's changed everything at the back end, it wasn't working. He's fixed a lot of this and sent me new links. So I'm going to have a new link, and it is a great program, and it will transfer everything. And the problem that I talked about a few weeks ago was a user error, mine. I didn't realize you got to click the double arrow instead of the single arrow, which a listener wrote in about, that because he had this problem, and that's copying other directories where you don't get all the contents. You only get the directory name, but you got to hit the double arrow, and that brings everything for setting up to copy. But I was very successful with this. The client was happy, and they piled on so many other things. I was literally there all day and on Friday, and it was great. And I was lucky that I wasn't getting crushed with other phone calls, and I was able to do it. So anyway, Scott, thank you very much for that referral. I really appreciate it. And let's get to the emails. And we got a couple really, really good ones. And the first one is from Michael Arnold. And I am going to display this real quick. This is to check subdomains, that if you get an email and it's got a domain that doesn't look right, that you can copy the URL from the link, come to this site, put it in, and it'll tell you if it's bad. If it's good, you just won't get anything. So I'm putting MHSconsulting.net. Let's do a check. I haven't done that. And not found in our database of compromised domains. So you put the domain name in there, and then you'll, at least if it's in the database, don't click on that. Especially now, those fake emails, they look so good. They are crafted now so well. Before, it used to be, well, if you get an email and it looks like English was not their primary language because of the bad grammar, it is very obvious. But I'll tell you, they're getting really good. And with AI now, oh, man. So I like this. And this was Michael sent me the YouTube link where the computer tech talked about this site. So I'm linking you directly to the Guardio Labs Subdue mailing checker. So thank you very much, Michael, for that. And we have another Michael, and let's bring up his mail. And this is Michael Merry. And he's like, just wondering, is there a possibility of adding Spotify to the podcast availability lineup? Google Podcasts is going away, and they are pushing people to YouTube Music, which in my opinion is absolutely horrible. I have been trying others out, and I am leaning towards Spotify for my podcast client. Thoughts? Yes, add Spotify. And what I'm going to do is the link that I'm going to put into the show notes, I have to follow myself, which is how to get listed on Spotify. So I will absolutely try to get the Mike Tech Show listed on Spotify. But I listen to Spotify all the time. I have so many different playlists. So now the final email and the final link for tonight's show. I think you're going to be miserable for a while. And this is Kate. And the link, and I'm going to have it in the show notes, is saying goodbye to the legacy version of the Evernote app. Now, what Kate doesn't know, and I haven't shared, the legacy app, I've always talked about, I love that because I hate the new version. But I did something, Kate, in October down here in Florida. I decided to bite the bullet, and I am using the latest version. And every time it updates, I let it update. I've been living with the pain, and I am now over it, and I'm getting used to the new Evernote. As a matter of fact, when I go back to Pennsylvania, I'm going to also have to go upgrade to the latest version. And it was really an accident where I used Patch My PC and to update everything when I got down here because, hey, I haven't updated any of my programs, so all my browsers are out of date, everything's out of date. You know, the 7-zip VLC, everything, and Patch My PC is perfect for that. So I ran that and let it do all the apps, and I didn't uncheck Evernote, and it upgraded me. And then I thought, do I back it out, or do I just stick with it? And I've stuck with it. So, but thank you for this link and letting everybody know. On March 23rd, 2024, we'll be saying goodbye to the Evernote's legacy apps. On that date, all versions of Evernote released prior to version 10 on Mac OS, Windows, and Android will stop working. Wow. The iOS version has already been decommissioned. To continue using your Evernote account after March 23rd, you'll need to install the latest version of Evernote, version 10. Wow. So this is, things that I've ran into. Like the new version, like sometimes after an update or something, it'll crash and it won't work and I can't get any of my notes. And I had to uninstall it, reinstall it, and resync with all my notes. I've had to do that twice since October. And that's not right. Now, you hear me complain all the time, and I know I will get some emails. Mike, you keep complaining about Evernote, but you keep using it. I know. I can't move off it because I'm so ingrained to it, and I'm so stuck in it that I'm so used to the ways of Evernote that I can't leave it. So you know how it is. There's certain things, like if Firefox keeps disappointing me, why do I continue to use it? I've asked myself this before, and it's, why? All it does is disappoint me. But yet I keep using it. I keep hoping, okay, the memory leaks will stop, the crashing will stop, but I will say this. I have been using Chrome more and more. So, what I really got to do is, even though I have Vivaldi as a shortcut on my toolbar, I really got to use that, because even the few times I've used it, it was, very, very nice and fast and snappy. So, today, there was a new client today that was a referral from a business client, and this is a friend. And he's having a printer issue, but once we realized that the printer, even when he walks up to it and he does a copy, it's still bad, and it's 8 years old. So I said, it's time for a new printer. And he's going to get a new printer. But when I was on his computer and I connected via Instant House Call and I'm using his system, it was so painfully slow. And the things that were installed on it it was just horrible. And I got rid of McAfee, sold him a Malwarebytes premium license, put that on, and that found 16 things that it quarantined. I still ran Adware Cleaner, which I like, and that found things, and I removed it, and I just keep chopping away. There were the man is an older man who does not play any games, and I start boom, 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 just chipping away, chopping away at the performance, and an hour later he felt like he had a new computer, and I could even tell after a reboot and then stopping the 30 things that he didn't need to be launched on boot up. And once I did all this, it was great. And he was like, wow. I mean, and I noticed it just being remoted in, how fast it was. And it's so my point is, Firefox keeps jamming up, and to the point where, I look and I'm like, I may only have 7 or 8 tabs, but there's 27 instances of it running. So I am slowly weaning myself to, we'll call it a Chromium browser. So just to cover the different flavors, where heck, even the Chromium version of Edge is looking better, than Firefox, and it's a shame, because I have my extensions that are near and dear to me that has kept me in Firefox land, and another one I'm going to have to say goodbye to. All right, I think that's it for tonight. Remember, you can email me, miketechshow@gmail.com. Don't forget to view the videos. I upload them right after the show to YouTube, and you can go to youtube.com/MichaelSmithMTS and click subscribe. I really appreciate it. I could use the subscribers, because the more I get, and I need a lot more, I can start to monetize the YouTube posts, and that would be very, very nice. Keep referring me. I really appreciate that, and I appreciate the listener base that constantly thinks of me for opportunities, even if they're one-off. As a matter of fact, there's another one right now that someone is not familiar with SharePoint, and we are possibly, I'm going to assist with a SharePoint migration, and I'm looking, that's great. A listener reached out to me, and we talked, and that's a great way. If you run into a problem, you need help, reach out to me. If it's not like just to be answered on the show and you want to engage me, then, say that. That's it. Also, don't forget the donate button. That helps, especially where there's been no advertising on the podcast anymore. So I live by the referrals for business and donations. And then if you want to check out Fab's Auto Backup and purchase it, use the link that's now in the show notes. That's it. Next week, show 900. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.